How does a massive 6,000 square foot home stay up with nothing holding up the inside? The secret is post-frame construction, the same method used for barns. Making this agricultural shell livable creates what is today known as a barndominium. Two master builders take on the challenge, building one for a client while demonstrating that this technique can beat traditional construction. But the process will not move in a straight line. Freezing winter storms, delayed windows, and missing materials right when the building needs to be sealed. Mid-build, the owners change the plans. A traditional build would stall, but this wide-open structure shows its ultimate advantage: absolute flexibility. But to prove this construction actually works, staying standing isn't enough. It also has to be perfectly sealed. Will the massive barndominium pass a brutal airtightness test? It all starts in northern Illinois. The chosen site sits on open land overlooking a lake, a promising location for a new home to be built. Leading the build is Kyle, founder of Rural Renovators, and beside him is Greg, his trusted second builder on the job site. They specialize in post-frame construction, a building method they have spent years perfecting until becoming true experts. The principle is simple. Large vertical posts carry the main structural load, including the roof and exterior walls. That removes the need for an interior load-bearing structure, allowing for a tall, open space that can be divided around the client's preferences. This is the core of the barndominium concept, the scale and structural logic of a barn, adapted into a fully custom home. To begin building up, Kyle first anchors the steel brackets where the vertical posts will sit, keeping the wooden bases off the concrete and protecting them from moisture and rot. Since concrete foundation walls are never perfectly flat, he measures each bracket with professional tools and records the slight height differences, so every wooden post can be cut to match its exact location. It is this attention to detail that separates master builders from everyone else. Rather than framing the wall piece by piece in the air, the crew assembles the entire section flat on the ground. This ensures perfectly square connections and makes the process safer. They're able to work this way thanks to the heavy equipment they own, which will later be used to lift the walls into place. For the lift, the track loader is fitted with a specialized truss boom, transforming it into a crane. This allows just two builders to safely hoist thousands of pounds of framing into place. As the walls are raised, the value of Kyle's earlier laser measurements becomes clear. The wooden columns drop cleanly into the steel foundation brackets, sitting plumb and exactly where they need to be. For Kyle and Rural Renovators, this isn't new. He's built storage buildings, workshops, and residential homes using post-frame construction, learning not only how to build these structures, but how to manage the sequence of an entire custom project. And at this scale, multiple specialists will be involved across every trade. Kyle's job will be to keep everything coordinated so the build stays on track. The floor plan is already mapped out. But with more than 3,000 square feet and no interior support posts, the design can still evolve, and the homeowner will soon take full advantage of that flexibility. For now, one thing is certain. The tall central structure will become the main living space, while the lower attached addition, now taking shape, will house the garage. The next major step is the roof. But before adding thousands of pounds of trusses, temporary bracing is installed to prevent the freestanding columns from shifting under the load. The trusses arrive prefabricated. For a crew of just 2, lifting them into place is especially demanding in the Midwestern wind. To improve efficiency, they first lock the stack together with a temporary board. This allows them to mark the purlin layout across every truss at once, instead of measuring each one 26 feet in the air. It's faster, safer, and maintains perfect alignment. To fine-tune the structure, the team uses heavy tension chains. By tightening or loosening the chains, they can pull the frame into perfect alignment, one adjustment at a time. The crew is making great progress, but from here on, building the structure is only part of the challenge. Kyle must also deal with suppliers and subcontractors, and he'll soon run into his first setback. As the framework nears completion, weatherproofing becomes the next step. But with strong winds sweeping through the site, the tension chains are still needed to keep the walls secure and the structure in alignment until it's fully covered. Long before this home looks luxurious, its performance is being built into the layers no one will see. These panels do more than create a surface for the metal roof. They become part of its first line of defense against water and air. When the house is complete, professionals will arrive to test how much air is leaking into the structure, and Kyle is determined to make sure the build performs at its best. As a final step, a specialized tape between each sheet closes the gaps where air or moisture could otherwise find a way through. With winter approaching, the team wants to seal the structure as fast as possible before snow and freezing conditions set in. But before closing it up, they will start setting the window frames so the client can review and adjust their position before making any final cuts. In a traditional home, the weight of the roof is spread across all the walls, so openings like windows need strong structural headers. But in post-frame construction, the weight is carried by the vertical posts instead. This leaves the wall spaces in between free, making windows easier to add or change without affecting the structure. They suddenly get a message from the window supplier. There are delays. To keep the build moving, they decide to seal the entire structure with panels, including the window openings. The panels are easy to work with, so the openings can be cut back out once the windows arrive. It is not the ideal order, but it keeps the build on schedule while sealing it from the cold and making it more stable against high winds. Kyle uses a precise folding technique on the seams. He applies firm pressure with a squeegee, making sure every bit of tape is fully bonded and no air pockets remain. It's an effective method that reflects his expertise on the job. With the house sealed, plumbing, heating, and electrical come next. For that, Kyle brings in specialized professionals.
Awesome. We got most heating and plumbing, mechanical here. They're going to be doing all the radiant floors, the sewer, the plumbing, like all of that will be done by them. First thing they're doing is locating where they're going to be coring a hole for their septic, and then they're going to start laying out the interior so they can get all of their underground work done, and then they're going to bring that excavator to the inside and start digging all the trenches where they'll bury all of their pipes under the slab.
While the mechanical crews take over the interior, Kyle and Greg shift their focus to the roof's perimeter to make the most of their time. Metal panels are already on the way to fully seal the roof, but another supply issue appears. Because of production delays, not all of the panels will arrive at once. So once again, Kyle has to keep the build moving around a schedule he does not fully control. At first glance, they may look like simple barn metal, but this system is designed to avoid one of the weakest points in a traditional metal roof: exposed screws. Instead of driving fasteners through the visible surface, each panel locks over the previous one, hiding the screws underneath and protecting them from sun, rain, and snow. That means fewer exposed parts to fail over time, and a cleaner roof line for the finished home. Just as they begin making real progress, the material delay catches up with them again. These are the last panels they have on site. The rest are still in production, so the roof will have to stop short while other crews continue moving the project forward below.
So plumber has all of their underground pipes done. You can see everything sticking up. And the electrician just showed up. He's going to run a couple outlets, one over here for where the sofa is, that we can get some lights at the end tables or something, and then maybe another outlet out here where the great room, dining room table is going to be, as well as you can obviously see all these pipes here, which are where the island is, the kitchen island, and you got gas pipes and water lines, drain pipes, vent pipes. I don't know, there's a pretty special vent that they had to do for the island.
Before leaving, the plumber prepares the floor for concrete, which will be handled by other professionals. This highlights how much of Kyle's job is coordination, making sure the teams don't overlap or compromise the final quality of the project. With the floor leveled, a layer of foam insulation goes on top. The client requested a heated floor system laid directly over the foam, which helps prevent heat loss downward. As a final step, Kyle creates a recessed area for the walk-in shower, giving the concrete crew a clear boundary to pour around. The team rolls in with heavy machinery. The next phase has officially begun. The main house alone covers more than 3,000 square feet, plus another 1,500 for the garage. Pouring that much concrete takes a full crew. Outside, the freezing conditions are affecting the materials, and the worst of the winter is still ahead. Inside, the crew pushes forward to keep the project on track. After the concrete cures, a team of specialists will come to spray foam the interior walls and ceiling, bringing the home closer to a climate-controlled space. For a post-frame home, this step is especially important. The structure creates large open spans, but the comfort of the final house depends on how well those spaces are sealed and insulated. It marks 2 months since the build started, and reaching this point so quickly says a lot about Kyle's management. He has coordinated framing, roofing, underground utilities, concrete, and now insulation. The house is still far from finished, but it is already becoming much more than a frame. While the foam crew works inside, Kyle and Greg keep the exterior moving. The rest of the metal roof is still on the way, so instead of waiting, they begin another visible layer of the house, the stone panels along the lower walls. This is where the Barndominium starts to move beyond structure and performance, and begins to look like a high-end custom residence. Since the final main doors have not arrived, Kyle bought temporary doors available in stock. That gives him a real reference point to keep working around the openings and continue the exterior finish. Inside, the home is nearly ready for framing. A second floor is already planned for the kids' bedrooms, a bathroom, and a playroom. But a call from the client changes things. They want to open up more space above the kitchen and add a mezzanine. It's a shift that affects framing, materials, and sequencing. It will slow progress, but it also highlights what makes post-frame construction powerful, a structure that can evolve as the home takes shape. The missing roof panels are finally here. With those in place, along with the wall panels that also arrived, the structure will be fully enclosed and they'll be able to move inside to start framing. It's perfect timing to move indoors as the coldest weeks of the year are approaching. Before they can finish the garage roof, there is one more detail to resolve between the two roof lines. They need to close the raised wall section first, since it's safer to work above the waterproof panels rather than across the slippery metal roof once it is in place.
Let's go! Bro, that was like a whole movie we just watched. That wind was the savior, dude.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it had like a little special movie clip at the end.
After the trusses, sheathing, and black steel panels, Kyle and Greg now focus on the transitions that will decide whether the roof performs as one complete system. At the joint between the two roof lines, they install a custom metal channel shaped to direct water out and away from the building. It protects one of the most vulnerable areas of the roof, the point where water would naturally collect. They also waterproof the gable trim, protecting another exposed edge where wind-driven rain could find a way in. And for the final drainage details, Kyle brings in a gutter crew to form and install the black gutters on site. Work continues, but the missing windows are starting to shape the schedule. The main house walls can't be completed yet, because the windows need to be installed first, so every panel and cut can line up correctly. The garage is the only section that can move ahead. It has no window openings to wait for, so Kyle gets started there. Before the final wall panels can go on, he installs a yellow drainage layer designed to keep moisture from being trapped against the wood. If water ever gets behind the siding, this layer gives it a path to drain and dry out instead of staying pressed against the structure, a key step in protecting the build long term. The wall panels are pre-finished from the factory, which means the final color is already applied before they ever reach the job site. Instead of waiting for painters to prime and coat the entire exterior, installing them is the last step.
Well, that is kind of exciting. These guys are putting a new pole in for us. They're getting new service so that we can trench it into the building and get some power. So they just took down a pole. They're gonna be putting a new pole up. Nice to finally get that going.
While electricians bring power into the building, the team finally moves the main work inside. But the garage doors still haven't arrived, so before they can create a workable interior space, they build temporary framed covers and seal the large openings with plastic. It's not a permanent solution, but it helps block out the cold and creates a better environment to start the interior framing. This lower level is designed around the busiest parts of the house: the great room, the dining area, and the kitchen, all open in one huge space. It will also have the primary suite, a guest bathroom, and the mechanical room. Even the attached garage is going to be partitioned to include a private workout room and a separate recreation space. Just as he has done with the main frame of the house, by building the walls flat on the floor and using laser leveling, he is actively preventing future structural issues. Since the post frame building is already heavily sealed and insulated, there is no need to use expensive spray foam on this interior partition wall. The fiberglass has a more specific role. The garage and the living areas will be heated separately, and this wall will help control the temperature between them while also reducing sound. They intentionally frame a rectangular opening for the staircase that will lead to the second floor. On that level, the clients are asking for 4 bedrooms, a shared bathroom, and an open mezzanine with a balcony overlooking the main living space. With the lower structure now established, the team begins installing the decking that will create the base of the upper level. After a month of framing, the build reaches a moment that will completely change the working conditions on site.
So you might hear behind me a noise. That's the electrician. They're boring a hole through the foundation wall so they can bring in the main service line. We just got power yesterday, so we're running off of actual electricity, not battery power, to power up all these lights. And it's only a matter of time before we get power in the building, and the plumber is going to be working on the in-floor heat. So we're going to have good working conditions throughout the rest of this winter, I think.
With those improvements underway, working on the second level is about to become much more comfortable for Kyle and Greg, who will move on to overframing the ceiling as soon as the decking is complete. In this post-frame build, the roof trusses are spaced too far apart for drywall to attach directly. Overframing creates the surface the ceiling needs, while also helping to straighten and stiffen the roof structure.
Come on, Greg.
4 months have passed since the build began. In that time, Kyle and Greg have raised the post frame structure, locked the walls and roof into place, sealed most of the shell against weather, worked around the window delay, insulated the building before winter could fully take over, and already done a lot of interior work. The next big step after framing is the outer porch, the most exciting part of the build. It will add a lot of character to the house and take it to another level of luxury. Suddenly, in the middle of the winter work, the surprise Kyle has been waiting for finally arrives.
Look at that. Pella windows. Finally, January, what is it, the 4th?
Yeah, 4th.
January 4th.
In a normal post-frame sequence, the windows would have gone in much earlier, shortly after the main wooden structure was framed. But the delay forced Kyle to change the order of the build. Instead of stopping the project, he managed the schedule around the missing windows, pushing ahead with an improvised but smart order. Now, the team can finally reopen the covered window spaces and install each unit where it belongs. Care is critical during this stage. Every window has to be installed with the same level of detail as the rest of the build. Otherwise, air leaks could compromise the Barndominium's final air tightness test. As the windows continue to go in around the house, the project unlocks a major new stage. The main exterior walls can finally receive their finished panels, because the real window and door dimensions are now in place. But before moving across the walls, Kyle wants to tackle his personal favorite part of the house first, the huge exterior porch. A larger one will wrap around the house as an outdoor space for gatherings with lake views, and a smaller one on the side will serve as the main entrance to the home. The weather isn't stopping them from working outdoors for now. However, a snowstorm is expected in the next few days, so they keep working steadily, beginning with the large porch. This will be the main outdoor living space, wrapping around the house at about 10 feet deep, with a wider front facade that becomes the visual centerpiece. The key detail here is that this isn't just a porch added onto the house. The metal fasteners for the roof pass through the wall and anchor into the internal building's columns. As a result, the porch and the house function as a single structural system rather than two separate parts. This matters because the porch roof has to carry its own weight, while also resisting snow, wind, and years of exposure. While the porch frame comes together, Kyle and Greg's experience becomes clear. Every connection is handled with the confidence of professionals who know exactly how the structure needs to work. As they shield the roof with waterproofing panels, the Midwestern storm catches up with them.
This afternoon we were hoping to finish up sheathing the porch. Two things happened. One, as you can see, it started snowing on us, which normally might not be a big deal, but it's causing some slippery conditions, and when you're up on a second story, you don't want to be in slippery conditions. But two, the other thing it did for us is it made the dirt around the porch too slippery. There ain't no way that our scissor lift, even being a rough terrain scissor lift, is going to get over here.
The next morning, instead of heavy machinery, they're forced to use ladders to get materials up to the roof. It's slower, but at least the snow and rain have finally stopped, and they can get some work done. Nearly 6 months into the build, the main entry door still hasn't arrived. The supplier told Kyle it won't arrive for another month and a half, so they build the small porch around the planned opening, following the concrete perimeter. With both porch roofs framed and covered, they move to cover the underside of the large porch. For the ceiling edges, they cut a small V-notch in the metal profile and bend the trim around the 90-degree corner. A trick to achieve a professional finish with no exposed joints or gaps. Closing the underside of the porch is not just about appearance. If the rafters were left exposed, animals could nest inside, moisture could reach the lumber more easily, and strong winds could push up into the open cavities beneath the roof. By covering this area, they protect the structure while giving the barn-dominium a finished architectural look. The logical next step would be to install the porch roof panels, matching the ones on the main house. But Kyle and Greg have to change the order again. The drywall crew is scheduled to arrive this week, so they move back inside to get the house ready. Since the work will take place on both floors, they start building a temporary staircase. The final one will come later, once there is less risk of damaging it. After assessing the site, the drywall team has decided the upstairs panels will be lifted in through the second floor window openings, making the job much easier. That is why Kyle and Greg do not need to build a wider staircase. It only needs to give workers a way to move between levels. Before the framing is closed up with drywall, they add extra insulation to help absorb footsteps, voices, and movement between floors. They also reinforce the separation between the garage and the living space due to differences in temperature, air quality, and fire safety requirements. One of the client's design choices is a finished wood ceiling in the great room. So before drywall arrives, Kyle and Greg install an extra backing layer that the wood will need later. What they do not know yet is that after months of discussion, the client will switch from wood to galvanized metal, a material that would not have required this extra layer. After all the delays, weather changes, and shifting priorities, the porch can finally start matching the rest of the house. This is one of the last major exterior pieces before the project begins to change rhythm. From here, the exterior walls will receive the paneling and final details, and once the drywall closes the rooms inside, the kitchen will begin to take shape. The drywall crew arrives. With the interior ready for installation, they start moving the first panels into place. From there, the interior begins to transform at a remarkable pace. While the subcontractors take over inside, Kyle and Greg focus on the exterior, allowing both crews to work in parallel. With each passing day, the house moves one step closer to its energy efficiency test, where all the precision and attention to detail throughout the build will finally be put to the test. Kyle has never done this before, but that only makes him more interested in the process. He trusts the strength of his post-frame buildings and is confident the result will hold up. Once the exterior is complete, the project will move entirely indoors. From that point on, coordination between subcontractors becomes essential to avoid interfering with each other's work. Kyle has already lined up trusted professionals for key areas like the kitchen and bathrooms, while he and Greg will focus on the remaining interior carpentry and finishes. On a building this large, flat surfaces could easily make the Barndominium look like a massive industrial box. So he adds thick battens over the seams. They add relief to the walls and cast stronger shadows across the facade, giving it more personality. With the final roof panels and trim secured on the entrance porch, the exterior envelope is fully realized. Inside, the house has completely changed. The second floor now reads as a true living area, with separate bedrooms and a mezzanine overlooking the open space below. Downstairs, the layout becomes just as clear. The master suite and the garage are now fully defined. And the heart of the home is about to take shape with one of its defining spaces, the kitchen.
Michael here. Michael's the business owner. Michael, we've met 2004. That's when you did my first kitchen for my personal house.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And these are all well, he's checking everything off as it comes off because this is a massive kitchen. Michael, always good, man. Always good.
In a project with so many custom pieces, Kyle does not just need suppliers. He needs people he trusts to deliver the right materials in the right order and with the precision the house requires. The kitchen sits open to the great room, so everything here will be visible from the main living space, the dining area, and even the mezzanine above. While Kyle and Greg do the carpentry, the countertop will be installed by other professionals. The island is not just a cabinet block, it is a utility hub with drain lines, hot and cold water, electrical conduit, and extra supply lines already coming up through the slab in the exact position. Almost everything was planned before the concrete was poured, and every connection came up exactly where it was supposed to. It is an exceptionally large design, measuring 5 feet wide by 16 feet long. Because of its scale, the countertop had to be fabricated in 2 separate pieces, which will later be sealed together during installation. To hide the joint between the 2 slabs, the installers fill it with color-matched epoxy and then use vacuum clamps to pull them tightly together until the seam almost disappears. As the kitchen nears completion, they receive the updated ceiling plans. No more wood, but metal. They had already prepared the great room ceiling for wood, so now they have to adapt quickly, source the new material, and get everything ready for installation. The client also has a special request for the upstairs railing. Years earlier, he had rescued and stored old cedar utility poles from a high-voltage power line, and now he wants to give that wood a second life inside the house. The railing brings the residential side of the project to life. It's exactly what this build is about, transforming a massive post-frame structure into a custom home with real personality. The ceiling plan has finally changed from idea to installation. For this metal finish, that backing is no longer necessary, but removing it now would only waste more time and money without improving the result. To speed up the process, a second scissor lift is brought in so both ends of each panel can be handled at the same time, significantly improving efficiency. Moves like this rely on having the right professional equipment on site. They then move to seal the garage. The project is now in its final stretch. Other crews are already working on the bathrooms, and once Kyle and Greg wrap up the ceiling details, only final touch-ups remain. By this point, it is easy to forget the scale of what they have taken on. This is a massive custom barndominium built from scratch, with open spans, a double-height great room, a mezzanine, a large garage, custom exterior finishes, and a wraparound porch exposed to years of weather. And the project has tested them at every turn. They pulled 17-foot-tall walls into alignment, worked around months of window delays, adapted to snow during the porch build, and adjusted to client changes without losing control of the schedule. That is where their professionalism stands out. They have shown what post-frame construction can become in the right hands. But soon, that precision will be measured. The blower door test will reveal how much air the house leaks, and whether all the ceiling, insulation, window work, and hidden details have performed as one complete system. As finish carpentry nears completion, the house is ready for one of its most important tests, measuring total air leakage. The operation is led by Randy, an experienced builder and building educator who is highly familiar with the process. Before running the full test, he walks the house with a thermal sensor. It helps reveal temperature differences around doors, windows, and small openings, making hidden air leaks easier to spot. In a few areas, Randy finds minor leaks, including around one of the doors. To make the problem visible, he releases a small stream of smoke. Where the smoke moves, air is moving too. Then the real blower door test begins. Randy installs an airtight red panel into one of the exterior door openings and mounts a powerful fan inside it. When the fan turns on, it depressurizes the house, pulling air out so any remaining leaks are forced to reveal themselves. Kyle also seals the door between the house and the garage because the test is meant to measure the conditioned living space, not the garage.
What would you expect this to hit based on, what you see and what you've done in the past?
I would expect you to be in that neighborhood of 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Dan, what number do you expect?
1.4.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Then I'll go 0.9.
0.9. All right.
Randy powers up the blower door, and the house is about to deliver an unexpected result.
What did we come up with, Randy?
You dropped your score a little bit more. You're down to 0.34. So this is estimating that all the leaks inside this house are going to cost you $63 a year.
That's what's awesome.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Post frame is a very easy way to make an efficient home. Because we didn't do anything crazy here. I didn't really try. We didn't use some crazy window or door package with super high energy. It's pretty basic. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, man.
It is.
Awesome.
For a house this large, that is an exceptional result. But the real achievement is not just the number. It is the reflection of everything Kyle and Greg have done throughout the past year. Showing their true mastery of post-frame construction, adapting to material delays and subcontractors, and sealing the house to an exceptional level of airtightness. The final result functions as a true luxury residence, both in its appearance and its performance. It shows just how far post-frame construction has come. No longer limited to agricultural buildings or simple workshops, it can deliver the scale, efficiency, durability, and comfort of a custom home without compromising on craftsmanship. And that only happens when the build is guided by people who know how to make every stage count. For Kyle and Greg, the most impressive part is not that they made the build look easy. It is that they never used the challenges as an excuse to lower the standard, and still delivered the home the client had been dreaming of. By the end, the Barndominium is more than a showcase of post-frame construction. It is a showcase of what happens when experience, patience, and true professional pride carry a project from the first bracket to the final test.